Hello, my name is Joey and welcome to the series we call 9 Surefire Ways to Optimize Your Workplace Performance. This is the ultimate guide to healthy computing. Today's video is video number 3 in the series, and it's all about choosing the right monitor, keyboard, and correct computer accessories. So in today's video, you'll learn how to protect those oh so valuable eyes of ours. You will keep your arms and wrists in the game, and you can accessorize your computer to perfection. Super important stuff we're about to go over. But why is this so important? So let's talk about, here's the deal. Everybody wants to sell you the newest, most improved, but what is the best for your health? That's the key. So we're going to be talking about you specifically. There are many options out there, but only one you. You'll have unique requirements. And also small joints like on our wrists and our hands and in our neck even are really usually the first to go, the first to get injured. So these injuries result in nagging long-term pain that gets worse over time. So let's talk about how to prevent that and protect it. And then eye strain is linked to long-term irreversible damage. So let's talk really some importance about your eyes. This video will help you learn the recipe for the perfect monitor and monitor setup so you can keep your eyes healthy and focused on the task at hand. Choose the best keyboard and optimal setup so you aren't shut down from typing, and understand which accessories are the best for protecting your small, fragile joints when using a computer. So let's talk about the oh so valuable save your eyes using the proper monitor technique. So let's talk about placement. Placement is number one to talk about because ophthalmologists usually recommend a safe viewing distance between 20 and 40 inches from the eyes to the front surface of the computer screen. So if you have difficulty reading the text, the size, make sure your head and torso in the right place and your chair is firmly supported by your back. And of course, just ensure top line screen. It's important with your eye level, and then place the monitor perpendicular to the desk. You don't want a ton of deviation and tilt there. So let's also talk about location. Location, 35 degrees to left or right. So there's a little bit of a head turn and tilt, and 15 to 20 degrees below horizontal eye level. Now, putting it too high can cause some strain in your eyes. Putting it too low, of course, causes your neck to go forward. But having a slight tilt in it downward causes that natural head neutral posture that we like. So that's super important. If your work involves printed material, like books and things like that, place the monitor basically a little to the side of the printed material, just in front of you. The distance between the monitor and the printed material should be minimal. Ensure the top part of the monitor is at the eye level or slightly below. Also place the center of the monitor 15 to 20 degrees below horizontal eye level we talked about. So let's talk about also time. Time is super important because sometimes if we get too locked into this box we call a computer, it can be very detrimental to our eyes. So periodically refocusing actually changes the focus time on the screen, and focusing on distant objects or blinking frequently can help break that up. So periodically wet your eyes by blinking and looking at distant objects or refocusing. Your body will naturally cause some lubrication in the eye, and you should also take breaks in between work and attend to other tasks away from the computer. That's really important. So keep that in mind. Clarity. So clarity has to do with really kind of more or less tilting monitors considerably, either toward or away from you, and either may cause objects on the screen to appear distorted, make them illegible. But if your monitor is tilted back, overhead lighting can create a glare. So there's some commonalities that go with this. So if you tilt your monitor 10 to 20 degrees perpendicular to your line of sight, that's the key, because that will help really to avoid this glare, have you avoid the squinting, straining eyes, type of posturing. And if it's not possible to use like a riser or swivel, you can tilt the monitor by slightly by placing a book under the front edge, and you can use can help reduce the glare. So keep about these in mind when it comes to the monitor techniques. But here's the recipe for the perfect monitor in summary. So it's large enough for sufficient visibility, typically big enough from 15 to 20 inches. Not too small a monitor can cause you to have strain. So you can always angle and tilt to be adjusted without much effort, because things in our environment can change. So you always want to be able to flex and adjust your screen. And if your workspace is a limited space, consider a wall-mounted screen or some type of monitor, and adjustable mounts that will help also some fluctuations and take up less space. So some key recipe components for a perfect monitor. Let's talk about the keyboard. There are some vital factors to keep in mind when choosing a keyboard, including its height, distance from the monitor and edge of the desk, and how to use it. So let's talk about the height. So allow the elbows to hang comfortably to your side of your body with the height almost the same as the keyboard. So just right there, your elbows kind of pretty much 90 degrees perpendicular to the desk range. Shoulders should be in a relaxed position so their wrists don't bend up, down, or either side. Keeping those wrists in the game is super important, like we talked about. Distance is directly in front of you. You want to kind of have that right in that square line of thought, sight and thought. So directly in front of you at a distance that keeps your elbows close to your body so you're not reaching too far out, with your arms, forearms parallel to the floor. So that perfect kind of engaged type of distance. That's what you're looking for. So the design and use. So depending on the size of your hands, and you may have to bend your wrists sideways or have different keys or in your traditional keyboard, but to make matters worse, the keys, keyboard and the laptop computers are typically, smaller and less conventional. So this awkward posture can lead to contact stress, like we've talked about in the previous, to your tendons, your sheaths, your other areas in the wrist, and repetitive typing, of course, is going to be adding up because a lot of what we do is not necessarily dictated all the time. We are typing a lot. So to reduce this awkward wrist angle, adjust the height of your keyboard or chair to attain the neutral wrist position. You may even elevate the back or front of the keyboard to achieve this posture we look for. And of course, adjust the keyboard to what feels best, but also keeps that neutral position. It may feel awkward at some time, but the recommended spacing between the center of the two keys horizontally is 0.71 to 0.75 inches and vertically 0.71 to 0.82 inches. So some very minor techniques there. So if you're looking for a good computer, it's going to typically have some ratings on, or a good keyboard for your computer. It's going to have ratings that can really help out. So keep those in mind. So here's the recipe. So keyboards with more adjustable options is definitely important to keep your wrists in a neutral position depending on your height, your body position. So ensure the cord, of course, is connectable, but even better yet, go wireless. Everything else is. And consider a keyboard without a number pad. That sounds odd, but having that out there can really throw things off in your center and line in position. And use separate wrist rests. So sometimes they come with the keyboard's built-in wrist rest, but it's better sometimes to use a separate one because those ones that are built in are just cumbersome and it's really a selling feature, so they're not always the best. So use these tips for the recipe for the perfect keyboard. But let's talk about some more accessories. So accessorize with ease. There are some mouse guidelines. So choosing the correct mouse, the wrist rest, document holder will have a large impact on the comfort of your workspace and your workstation. So this is also a chance for you to have a little fun. When you're on the market for a new mouse, you'll find available different sizes and shapes, configurations, all that fun stuff. And you can find some that look like actual mice, that are neon, that are shaped like spaceships, you name it. But there's something for everyone. But there's some guidelines specifically. But select the mouse based on the requirements of the job of your physical restrictions. So you always want to keep that in mind with your workspace. There isn't much difference between a mouse, a trackball, and other pointing devices when it comes to how they perform. It's simply a matter of what you prefer and what works best for you and your body. So, of course, cordless is an option, but make sure your cord is long enough. There is the shape and feel of the hand in your hand is important because you want to snug that contours with the hand so you're not over on the edge of your hand or causing any hand cramps, things like that. So something to keep in mind. If your hands are small, select a smaller mouse. Easy. However, if multiple users are using it, it's best to use a normal size mouse in your hand, and always choose a mouse that has a good sensitivity to adjustments, and both hands can be used conveniently. So wrist rests. So there's some guidelines to prevent some stresses, when using the mouse, and you can use these wrist rests. So the shape and width, slope, and height of the wrist rest should match the front edge of your keyboard. So it's interesting to think about when the keyboard matching your wrist rest so you're not overstretching there. And then using a gel material, a pad, providing soft, support around that. Some things can be really, really comfy out there in the marketplace. And recommend a depth of the about 1.5 inches. That helps to minimize the contact pressure we talked about in the past with the wrist and forearm. Document holders, if you're working, in a situation where you're required to do more documentation or looking at the monitor frequently back and forth, you need it's really helpful to place a document holder up at an angle so you're not constantly looking down and up, down and up. It's better to use document holders that are stable and remain placed in one position throughout the work. The height, position, distance, viewing angle, the document holder should be easily adjustable by multiple users. Again, if you're sharing workspace, keep that in mind. And place the holder between the monitor and the keyboard if your job involves accessing the document frequently, such as writing the document, reading and typing and things like that. So that's how you really can accessorize really easily, but also adjustable in keeping yourself in the game with these little nuances in the workplace. So in closing, choosing the right computer accessories are a major part of your health in the workplace. So not just positioning, not just, the way that you feel in the desk and the chair, but it's the accessories that go along with that, because that's what we're working with. So keep that in mind. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to exploring more surefire ways to optimize your workplace performance in videos to come. Thanks again for watching. Hey, before you go, if you enjoyed this content, you'd probably benefit from our introductory massage package we created for new clients. Just click the Learn More button below to find out more. Thanks again for watching.